The moment that still makes my stomach drop is when he laughed and said, "Pick anything you want," like it was a joke. And then his daughters looked straight at me and said, in perfect unison, "We want her as our mom." I was standing in his kitchen, holding a chipped mug, absolutely frozen, realizing that a casual promise had just turned my entire life upside down. I wasn't dating him. I wasn't even sure he respected me. And suddenly 2 little girls had chosen me in a way that felt bigger than love and heavier than fear. Was I wrong to take that seriously, or would you have done the same thing in my place? To explain how it got that far, I need to rewind. I'm an Apache woman, raised by my grandmother on stories, resilience, and the understanding that family isn't just blood, it's commitment. I moved to the city for work, kept my head down, and ended up becoming a live-in caregiver for a widowed father named Mark. He was charming in that careless way, the kind of man who fills silence with jokes and avoids anything, emotional by pretending it's all easy. His wife had died years earlier, and he had 2 daughters, Lily and Rose, who were 8 and 10 when I met them. From the first week, they followed me around, asking about my beadwork, my language, my stories. I cooked for them, helped with homework, braided their hair, and listened when they cried at night. Mark noticed, but he treated it like a convenience, not a bond. One night, after a long day, he came home with a bottle of wine and that grin. He told me he was thinking of selling the house, maybe traveling, maybe starting fresh. I asked him what would happen to the girls, and he shrugged, like that was a detail to be handled later. I snapped, told him you can't just start fresh when you have children who already lost their mother. He raised his hands and said, half joking, "Relax, pick anything you want. I'll make it happen." I thought he meant a day off, or a raise, or at least a serious conversation. I didn't know the girls were listening from the hallway. The next afternoon, he gathered us in the living room, clearly amused, and said he was a man of his word. "So," he said to Lily and Rose, "what do you want?" They didn't hesitate. Lily squeezed my hand. Rose swallowed hard. And then they said it. "We want her as our mom." The room went dead silent. Mark laughed at first, waiting for a punchline, but the girls didn't laugh. They started crying, saying they already felt like I was their mom, that I stayed, that I listened, that I didn't disappear. My chest felt like it was cracking open. So that was the situation I was in, and I had to make a choice. Before I tell you what happened next, pause for a second and tell me honestly what you would have done in my shoes. Would you have stepped back, knowing the complications, or would you have leaned into what those kids were asking for? I told Mark we needed to talk alone. I told him this wasn't a joke, and it wasn't a prize to hand out. If he was serious, it meant respect, commitment, and understanding that I wasn't a prop in his life. He got defensive, accused me of putting ideas in the girls' heads, even hinted that my culture made me overly emotional. That hurt more than anything. I told him exactly who I was, where I came from, and that those girls saw me because I showed up every day. I said I wouldn't accept being their mother unless he accepted me as their partner. Not a convenience. For days the house was tense. The girls barely spoke to him. He watched them pull away, and finally realized this wasn't about me winning something. It was about what he was losing. He apologized, not perfectly but sincerely. He asked if we could try slowly, with counseling, with honesty. I agreed, with boundaries. Months passed. I became their legal guardian alongside him. We learned together. It wasn't a fairy tale, but it was real. Now, years later, those girls still call me Mom. Mark learned that words have weight, and promises can change lives. The moral I carry is that family chooses you back when you show up with consistency and respect. If you were on my side in this story, like the video, subscribe for more stories like this, and share your final thoughts on this whole mess in the comments. I'll see you all in the next story.